It warms my heart when women say that men are just insecure, and that's why they don't approach them anymore. Ladies, you are so delusional to think that. The truth is easier. We don't care what you want anymore. It's really that simple. Men today are faced with a choice like a fork in the road. One choice leads them to peace, happiness, and success, but it's done alone without a woman in his life. The other choice leads to chaos. It may or may not come with a woman in his life, but if it does, it has no guarantee of success. In fact, the odds of it ending in failure because of that woman in his life are really high. In the past, men would take the second choice because they had always been told that it is what he is supposed to do as he grows older. And in the past, the success rate was much better. But in today's world, men are taking the first choice, heading out on their own journey of success, peace, and happiness without the burden of a woman in his life. And the number of those men keeps growing. Ladies, when we did approach, you laughed in our faces, accused us of being creepy and harassing you, and told us to get away from you. Now that we've granted your wish and stopped approaching you, you ask what's wrong with us. Ladies, make up your minds. Now we don't make the move anymore because at this point the regret is inevitable, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. To all the young men out there, the best advice I can give you is to stay single and just focus on making yourself happy. Don't worry about women, because no matter how pretty a girl is, there will always be a man who is sick of her crap. Another perspective is that people no longer have social skills. We hear a lot about men's lack of social skills, but never hear about women's lack of social skills. Sure, back in the day, guys struck out a lot, but women knew how to reject a guy in a civilized manner. Politeness no longer exists. Politeness was always an important factor. If a woman did not like a man who approached, she would let him down easily, not degrade or humiliate him. It is extremely stupid for a woman to do this. Other men see how she treated a guy who approached her and immediately crossed her off the list. Basically, a large number of women today are basically bullies. No one likes bullies. I think that a key thing that no one talks about is the dualistic nature, or perhaps dualistic intent with modern women. Every woman is different, but the bad apples have spoiled it for men. Women want both men to approach and to stay away, not look yet give attention. Of course, this is determined by a man's rating on the SMV. I think most men under the top 20% have gone their own way, passport, or decided to blaze a new path. This is a huge problem for women. This means Chad and Tyrone are only available and they are quick flings. The 80% have decided to stay away and not be clean-up men anymore. This is great for men. I also think the approach shifted dramatically from the world to online. Because of the zero risk that comes with online dating, the majority of women wouldn't punish men for doing the first approach, but some women are just evil. And online, everything gets magnified, making distinction from reality harder and harder. Snakes are still everywhere, but that doesn't mean you need to starve to death. One thing we all know by now is that women only want Chad and Tyrone, and so those men don't have to approach. Therefore, nobody is approaching them or making any moves because the guys they don't want don't bother, and the guys they want don't even need to. Just think about that. Women make the rules themselves. You're a creep, predator, or weirdo if you don't happen to be an attractive, tall, fit, and rich man cold approaching the woman. Women automatically break rules and boundaries for men who tick their laundry list of preferences and requirements, and these are the type of men who can do or say anything to women without many consequences. Because in her eyes, you're appealing and desirable. The truth is that they get off on being validated and then rejecting the person who validated them. It eases the pain of their own internal rejection of themselves. Narcissists are extremely insecure internally, but project confidence outward as a mask. Don't be fooled. Stop simping. What happened to the men being pursuers? Why don't they walk up to them and make the first move? The Me Too movement. Believe all women, extreme feminism, false accusations of assault, hypergamy. Take your pick. It's all of these things combined together. We all know how things change as life goes on. And one of the things that have definitely changed in the dating game is that men are no longer approaching women like they used to. Just go check out your TikTok or YouTube feed, and you'll find dozens of women talking about why men need to approach them like they used to. These women are telling men that they will not budge unless they're nicely approached and then asked out. What these women lack is basic empathy. They do not understand where the men are coming from in this situation, why they're not approaching women, and why even more men will stop approaching women in the future. You see, men are sick of being misled, turned down, used, exploited, cheated on, and ignored. They've faced all of this in the last couple of decades, and they don't want to face this anymore. Why do guys no longer approach women the same way they used to? Before social media, smartphones, and the internet, there was no direct method to contact women no matter how far away they were from you. Men used to physically approach women and express their interest in them back then, since there was no other method to engage with women. In the modern world, both men and women have access to each other from anywhere and at any time. There was a lot of work involved back then. Everything needed to be planned in advance. It was easier and maybe a bit more exciting as well. You probably had a picture in your head of someone you saw and loved, since you didn't have the luxury of looking her up on social media. And this is what compelled guys to go see the woman in person and request their time with her. People dated largely inside their own groups back then, since that was how things operated at the time. The distances were far and wide and always became a problem. Unlike today, when you can get in touch with someone from across the world and get to know them online in real time. So, men and women both did not have such luxuries back then, and in fact, did not have the luxury of being able to interact with just about anyone they liked. There were formalities involved. The girls had to get permission. The guys had to take the girls' parents' permission before they could meet them. There was little interaction back then. Before getting married, men had a maximum of 2 opportunities to meet and get to know women, because they had no other choice. Guys had no choice but to approach women. For this reason, I believe that the level of chemistry, connection, and mutual understanding was much higher than it is now due to the numerous distractions we face nowadays. On social media, a person seeking someone could like one person, but they might also like 5 others. They would have half-hearted conversations online, and even during dating, they'd still be engrossed in their phones trying to get the perfect click for the gram or speaking on a group chat. I mean, we are super connected now as compared to before, yet we are utterly disconnected from each other and our realities. Today, men have decided just not to indulge in any behavior that allows women to disrespect and invalidate them. Women's behavior towards men has just gone down the drain, and men have realized this. They have chosen their reputation, integrity, and respect over the disrespect and humiliation extended by women towards them. Seriously, I'd be much better off not making the first move, because I swear I've heard stories of women calling the cops over guys approaching them. Obviously, there was nothing wrong with the guys, it was just that they did not fit their profile in the looks and money departments. So, why would I or anyone put myself through something like this? It doesn't make sense. Also, I think a very high percentage of women are just not even worth approaching anymore. Men are so done with women that their basic and default thinking regarding women is to avoid them. Avoid the gyms, the bars, and any other work-related social gatherings. Men are using extreme caution regarding approaching women and making a move even after the first few dates. And trust me, it's not that they're scared of women. For them, approaching women is now a thing of the past, because the default reaction of today's women when they're approached by guys is to ignore them or make fun of them. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support, so please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.